Hello, so hopefully a notification goes out for this. So what's the quarantine sort of isolation day? Is it day 2, day 3 at this point? It must be day 3, wouldn't it? Or is it day 2 of the proper thing? Was it Sunday night they start? No, it was Monday, wasn't it, that isolation was first brought in? Monday night. So this is technically day 2 proper of quarantine, social distancing, isolation, whatever you want to call it. Already quite boring. I'm still waiting for Mountain Blade to come out. Also, the ever irritating thing is where I volunteer at the Blue Cross on Thursdays. They said to all volunteers not to come in at the moment. They're just going to have to cope with limited staff that, are taking enhanced risks. So, yeah, that means I've got literally no work, no volunteering, charity volunteering, even if I want to do it. I've been told not to come in for that. So, yeah, it's just literally sitting at home, playing video games and making YouTube videos and doing a bit of exercise every day. That's what my life has boiled down to now. So I know a lot of you are in the same boat, or if you're not in a different country, that's going to be happening soon. Cheers, Mike. What I've ended up doing now, I know it's a little bit patchy, is once I've gone over with the clippers, I just get my regular face shaver and use that to get it even shorter, because that cuts even closer to the scalp. Just like the regular free sort of headed electric kind of things. Harvey, I've got one on order. It will be coming any day now. I'll do a review. Apparently, it's like an S10, but not as good, but it's got a better voice diaphragm. I'll let you know my personal opinions on it when it arrives. So yeah. Well, I'm weapons and stuff 93, not 92, Biggie B, but no, I'm not military or ex-military. Some of my family were in it, but I'm just sort of, I find it interesting as a hobby sort of thing. I was interested in joining at one point, and I was medically unfit to serve, but there you go. Yeah, Prince Charles has coronavirus. Which government's that, Steve? R1, the UK, or a different government? I know Trump's saying it's magically going away by Easter, which, let's be honest, it's not. As in a Zelensky Command World War One mask, yeah, they're pretty rare, I'd imagine. Most World War One masks aren't available in big quantities anymore. So yeah, let me know in the comments or live chat feed, whatever you want to call it. Are you in quarantine yet or under social isolation in your country? M9A1's a good collector's items, Biggie B, but if you want to get an M9A1 style mask for actual proper use, I'd recommend the Finish M61. Cheers, Max, I appreciate it. Having crab for dinner tonight, pretty good for quarantine, eh? How are you on supplies? There's loads of stuff in the cupboards. After going to look after my grandparents today, because obviously we need to look after them, but at the same time, you don't want to infect them, so we're trying to limit the amount of relatives that visit them. My parents went to a supermarket while wearing respirators, and there was actually a few things in supply. I had to pay for them, but turns out because most people are buying the cheap alcohol, there's still loads of this left. So I had one of these tonight. So if I sound like I'm slurring words ever so slightly, that's fine. So yeah, like I said, I'm just waiting for Mountain Blade Warband to come out. I've got enough in terms of food and everything else. Saw one of my mates I hadn't seen properly for years today to give him a gas mask for free and a dosimeter pen. I said to him, just have a look on the dosimeter pen in case the needle starts going up, as in nuclear power plants are melting down. Not that I imagine they would, but I thought it'd just be quite a cool thing. I like handing out dosimeter pens to people because when you buy them cheap in bulk and can charge them, you can literally go to people, here's a dosimeter pen, make use of it. All right, Mike. I mean, if it's 40% or whatever, you can't disinfect stuff with it, but you can at least drink it. Thank you, Altrix. Did it the other day. The new clippers I bought are all right. I think I prefer the older ones I've got in terms of like cutting the hair efficiently, but these ones, work once I got used to them. But at least masks, don't pull my hair anymore. Yeah, I just do it myself, Chris. I just literally have those clippers that are designed so you can do that with them. Then I just get, after I've got nearly all the hair off, I just get my sort of facial hair shave one for like, trimming the tash and doing the beard bit. And then I just go like that over with that. I know it's not perfect. You'll spot probably little bits that are slightly longer like there than other bits, but, you know, within a couple of days it looks back to normal. In terms of comfort, lost my hamster, I prefer the Fushida, personally, for me at least. But in terms of, you know, like overall usefulness, I'd say the S10. I've never actually watched Trailer Park Boys, Richard. I know Mike likes it, but I've never actually watched it. It's up to you if you want to shave your hair or not. I just do it because I find it's really convenient and cheap to cut your hair off completely while at home. And masks never pull your hair. This is the thing. Let's have a look at a mask. I've put a load of them in satchels. Right, mystery bag. What do you think's going to be in this one? I can't remember which one I've put in here because they all look the same from the outside. I bought a load of those bags to put masks in. So what mask's in this one? It's not the French M51, by the way. I know they're French satchels, but... Oh, it's the BEM 4GP in this one. No, I wouldn't put a GP5 in one of these satchels. These are actual masks, you know, ready to go. So there we go. That's what I'm saying. This is a nice thing. You're never going to pull your hair out with these on. See, I need to tighten these a bit more now because where there's no hair here now, the straps are a bit loose, so they need to be tightened. I literally answered you messenger pigeon a minute ago. Are you not listening? But yeah, in all honesty, if you ever want to wear a mask for longer periods of time, being bald or really short-shaved works really well for that because the straps do not pull your hair. When you're bald, they just don't do that. They're a lot more convenient. But yeah. Let me look what those are, Joseph, because I don't know without looking. Oh, and cheers very much there for Pie. He says, don't care about the virus, but give me an excuse to buy some filters. What's your top 3 recommended 40mm? Personally, I don't think 40mm filters, there's all that much in them as long as you're buying them of the same class. But if you're buying, gas filters or just combination filters sort of thing? If you're buying combination filters, go for either in-date CBRN filters, which is easier said than done because a lot of them are obviously not going to turn up on the surplus market if they're in date. But ABEC P3 filters, like ABEC 2 P3, they're the pretty bulky ones. ABEC 2 P3s will be this sort of size. If you don't want to get an ABEC 2 P3, go for an ABEC 1 P3, which will be a bit smaller, like probably that much smaller. But in terms of like brands and all that, it really depends just what's on the market at the time, because at the moment, you know, you can't really pick and choose filters very well. Cheers, Roman. He said, ordered a regular civilian Israeli gas mask and got an Israeli M15 said stonks. Well, that's the better way. You don't want to buy the cheaper one and get buy the more expensive one and get the cheaper one. But yeah, if you bought the cheaper one and got the more expensive one, I'd be pretty happy with that, unless you very specifically wanted the 4A1. But yeah, I mean, it doesn't often work out, does it, that you buy a cheap mask and get a more expensive one as a replacement. The filter I just showed absent. Unfortunately, I don't think you can buy them at the moment because these are Russian filters. They're Briz or Breeze filters, whatever you want to call them. But the problem is Russia's banned PPE sales at the moment, or PPE exports. So if you're trying to buy, you know, like Russian filters and that, you can't because the government wants them all for internal Russian use because of coronavirus. But Hype sent me this one a while ago. But there we go, it's there. They're good filters and they're GOST, obviously, so you can fit them in NATO and GOST masks. There are FP5 filters on eBay that are still in date, but how much they are and all that, I don't know. But the problem is, if they're in date FP5 filters, they're probably not GOST ones anymore. They're probably just the NATO ones. « What's my opinion? Old Bandit said on the British Mark IV NBC suit. British Mark IV suits are all right. You'll probably find that the first time you wear them, you'll get charcoal all over your clothes. But after that, they're all right. But obviously, they're not as good as like the old rubber suits if you just want something hard wearing that will last for ages. It's what radiation, Barbaros. Thank you, SC. I doubt there'd be a big world war, but if there'd be like little skirmishes because one nation's weaker than another nation, could be. But it's sort of pointless speculating about that stuff because you never really know, do you? Let's hope there's not a world war. Let's hope it brings out the best in people. But sadly, where I am, there's still people saying it's just a flu and wandering about out in the street, risking infections to other people. So there's that. So yeah, it's bizarre for me, like I was saying though, because I've been told not to do the volunteer charity thing I do normally. So yeah, that's the sort of weird thing is on Thursdays I normally volunteer with the Blue Cross. 2 weeks ago when I had flu symptoms, I phoned in sick, and then they said to me last week, don't come in, obviously, because if you have flu symptoms, it could have been coronavirus, so don't come in. And then they're saying from now on, until they say otherwise, don't come in because of, all the coronavirus quarantine rules. So now I can't do my regular weekend job that I'm paid to do. I can't do my volunteer job. All I can do is YouTube and sit in the house. So, there's that. The thing is, I suppose I could enjoy it in the sense it's a bit like a holiday and a bit of a break, but at the same time, it's just bizarre and I kind of want to be doing stuff. William the Butcher's son says, evening, accidentally discovered a good way to check a face heel with ABEC filters and the full face mask, just chop up onions. There's pictures of old soldiers chopping onions with gas masks on, so it wouldn't, affect them. But yeah, that would work. I don't know, you'd have to tell me where the picture of Putin was in a gas mask. Thank you very much, Eric. Get big what? As for P100 filters in the US, P3 filters, again, it just depends. I think a lot of the time at the moment, all of this stuff is just selling out as soon as it gets listed. John says, just got a question. I got an Israeli mask. I'm not sure if it's the children version or adults. It has number 1 on the front top and a 3 on the right side by the water port. Any help? Thank you. I don't know, actually. I'm trying to think where I've got my 4A1, but I've probably put it in a storage box somewhere. How big is it? Is it small on an adult's face, or is it like a normal size one? Because as far as I'm aware, Israeli children's masks are one size fits all, and the adult masks are one size fits all. So if you're an adult and it's small, it's probably the children's mask. If you're an adult and it's like average sized, it's probably the adult's mask. If you're a kid and it's too big, it's probably the adult's mask. But I'm afraid I can't help you there. Somebody else in the chat might know a bit more about the Israeli sort of numbering on all masks and that, but I don't. In the UK, thank you very much, Nebu Chadnazar. I think in the UK it's going to get quite bad just because for ages they've been saying it wasn't a problem, and then, they are quite slow in acting things and people still aren't taking it seriously here. I think it depends really just though how well a country's planned for it. So if you've got a country that's taken lots of precautions, they've put a lot of funding into their health service and all this sort of stuff, it's not going to be that bad, I don't think. But if you've got a country where your health system is already under strain and they were literally pretending, it's not going to be an issue until it was too late, I think there's going to be a lot of problems. Thank you, Bunker Dad. Oh, thank you, Simp Frost. He said size 1 Israeli is a small for whoever asked. All right, Dwarven Miner. Yeah, I like Scott 2000 filters. You silly goose 94 scoops. The only issue with Scott filters, I don't know if it's changed now, but a while ago, Scott filters only came in like a vacuum bag. They didn't have any plugs on the filters. So quite often, if the bag just got ripped a bit in transit, the filter was already like leaking to the air. No, I don't, RJB. I'm assuming they're probably just going to keep the staff isolated that work in them. As long as they're not being too authoritarian, Alex, I suppose that's a good thing. But yeah, I don't. The thing is, in the UK, I think they ought to probably use the army a bit more, because at the moment they're doing this stupid shit of. I'm not saying quarantine and isolating stupid. It's actually a good thing, but the problem is they're not really enforcing it or don't have the power to enforce it, and then the penalties if you get caught are barely there. It's like a £30 fine and you're told to go home. So the problem is I imagine a lot of people will be breaking it just because they know there will not be enough cops to catch them. Thank you, Zedal. Let me load up Discord and I'll add you. Yeah, I never intend this to look like Walter White. It's just, I guess, if I shave my head but I have a bit of facial hair, I look like Walter White for that reason, I guess. As for people that have messaged me on Discord, I'll read them and reply after the stream. Well done, you got your name right. As soon as you accept that, I will send you a thing. There isn't a GP6 gas mask. There's the GP5 and then the GP5M, if that's what you're thinking of. Or GP, yeah, it would just be the GP5M, because the GP7 is a totally different mask. Post a question, Nathan, and then I can answer it. I can't answer your question if you just ask, will I answer it, but you don't post the question. For most people, there's no point getting a decon kit Zodax, because most of them are, designed primarily to neutralize chemical agents. In terms of killing viruses, you can just literally use household bleach, rubbing alcohol, that sort of stuff. You must be new to the channel, C2UN, but I do it because it's just good for hair hygiene, well, scalp hygiene, really, like eczema and stuff like that. Masks are a lot more comfortable, and it's cheap, because you buy a set of clippers and you can do it month after month after month at home until your clippers break. Where if you, go to see the barber, well, it's an infection risk at the moment as well. But ignoring that, a lot of the time if you go to a barber, it's like £15 in total just to get your hair cut or like shaved. So just literally spending £30 to £40 on a clipper means you can just, do that all the time. Tanya von Degerchef, I'm probably butchering your name, I'm apologising there. Said, hey, Czech government wants people to put cloth on respirator exhaust valves so we don't spread the virus if we sick. What do you think? That would be a good idea. The reason being, let's say you've got a respirator. There's your exhale valve. I assume the BEM4GP's exhale valve is there, isn't it? So let's say you've got your exhale valve. If you put a bit of cloth over there, spittle wouldn't fly out the valve. It would catch there. So yeah, that is actually a good idea. Because I was saying to people before, you could probably tape a surgical mask to the outside of a mask. In terms of deconning stuff. But yeah, that lowers, because the problem is with a mask like this, it protects you from inhaling stuff. It doesn't really protect other people, where surgical masks are the opposite. So yeah, if you tape something over there, yeah, you would actually be protecting other people from your exhaled spittle. Henry Howe is putting a loading thing in for some reason. He said, what is the cheapest gas mask you can buy on eBay, second from the GP5? Nokia M61s sometimes still turn up in the £20 region. French M51s, saying that, often turn up quite cheap. French M51s take NATO filters, so that's a good sign. But the only thing is French M51s often are in quite old condition. But at the moment, there isn't really any cheap masks on eBay, I'm afraid. Opinion on the GP5, it's the world's most mass-produced gas mask. There's one above me there. I like it for its historical thing, but if you're buying a mask, there's a lot of better options on the market. See you, Eli. Yugoslav M9s aren't very good, though, but yeah, they're cheap, but I wouldn't personally use one. I'll have to Google it, Skrork, because I have never heard of that before. Is that a brand or what? That doesn't look too bad, actually. So it's a Japanese gas mask, is it? If you can get one of those in 40mm, that would actually look quite nice. But in terms of the proprietary ones, it's going to have all the same problems lots of proprietary masks have, but it looks quite a well-made mask. But again, I'm just looking at an image. he might handle it and say it's really cheap plastics and rubbers. Thank you, John. He said, like the content and you speak sense, keep it up. Thank you very much. Why is everybody spamming the loading little icon in the chat now? Nathan says, question, have an S10 gas mask. Its filter is 10 years old. Is it any good? Against corona, it would be fine because it's a P3 particle filter. I think the S10 uses a paper and carbon fiber composite, like a fiberglass type thing. But it would be absolutely fine, yes. S10s are very good masks. The filters are good. I don't know if you noticed, but it's actually an S10 sort of Avon filter I've got on this BEM 4GP at the moment. But yeah, they're good filters. But I'd shill for Avon any day of the week anyway. Oh, thank you very much, Nintendo Boy 12. He said, at least here in the US, M61s are getting up there, 80 or so bucks. But that's still on the cheap end compared to other things I've seen. Yeah, I think the thing is, I think we end up being quite lucky in Europe. Obviously, in the UK, you end up having a bit more spending power than some of the poorer European countries. But I think in Europe, we end up being pretty lucky, or are being, I don't know what right, past tense or present tense term would be it. But I think we're pretty lucky, let's put it that way, in Europe, that at least, because of all the European countries that had masks, the shipping and all that ends up pretty cheap for a lot of European surplus masks. But yeah, I know in America it can be quite hard by the sound of it, even though, you think of America being this really gun-friendly place and everything else. It turns out, I think a lot of masks there just never get shipped to the US, or if they are, they're at quite a markup. Thank you, Varnell. Blondes or brunettes? I like both. I like redheads as well, but brunettes, I don't know. Mr. Livera said my answer there. Account, ask the question. Don't say you're saying an important question because I might miss it. Just say the question. If you've got the FP5s on the filter, on the mask they fit on even, Ian, yes, that's absolutely fine. Finish M16s, do you mean Finish M61s? But yes, I like Finish M61s. I did a video like less than a week ago where I recommended the M61. Jonah said, what's a good cheap mask? Wow, cheap. That's a bit of a problem now, isn't it? Because everything's being massively inflated in price. I would say, look at all the videos I've recommended cheap masks before, see if any of them are still cheap. But at the moment, the problem is every time I look at masks, the prices are all over the place, so I can't really recommend stuff that would be cheap. I can't really buy masks to review at the moment, I'm afraid, Mike, just because a lot of masks just aren't in stock anywhere at the moment. But the Scott FRR is the GSR, isn't it? Just in 40mm. I've got a GSR and I've already done a video converting that to 40mm. So, I've kind of already reviewed that by kind of... Yeah, you've donated before, SC. What's your Discord username now, SC? Or is it just SC? Let me try SC8828, and if it's not that, you have to post what your username actually is. No, it's not SC8828, is it? So you have to get back to me with what your full username is. Also, for anybody that notices, unfortunately, my Model M keyboard has died. So I'm using another shittier, older, not quite full mechanical keyboard I found in the cupboard from Windows 98 days. And I've got a new mechanical keyboard on order, but it won't be as good as the Model M. But the control key died on the Model M, and I end up using the control key a lot. Once you start trying to do Control W, copy and pasting, and realizing your control keys died, you're kind of like, shit, this keyboard's no good anymore. Right, let me just scroll up in case I missed any super chats. Thank you, Varno. Oh, I've answered that one already, haven't I? I've answered Nintendo Boy. That's annoying, Altrix. Let me close Steam, because if I've got Steam running in the background, it could be trying to do downloads. It could be the internet connection at your end, but thank you again for the donation. Hopefully I've not missed any things. Newt does, or K-Newt does quite a useful thing at the moment. Wherever I'm on a live stream, he PMs me on Discord whenever somebody's done a super chat in case I miss a message. Wow, I'm saying this keyboard isn't one I want to keep. The minus keys died on this one as well. It doesn't do anything. I noticed that earlier when I tried to use it, but Yeah, I've got one of those like Cherry MX or whatever they're called keyboards coming tomorrow, because you can get those quite cheap now, or like clones of the Cherry MX. But sadly, it's not a buckling spring keyboard. But who are you on about saying I'm not selling anything? Yes, I am bald now, Shrimp Zoo, but I do that about every month. I just shave all my hair off and then masks fit properly. And this, to be honest, is the sort of time I definitely want short hair, just because I'm going to be wearing masks a lot. And it stops me getting dandruff as well, because you can just get a flannel or like moisturizer and do that on your hair. You know, and it sorts your scalp out. Well, when you get hair, you get a lot worse dandruff and itchy sort of stuff. Thank you again, Max. He said, the thing about masks in the US is that we've never really been under any type of threat that would need civil gas masks, unlike Europe during the Cold War. Well, I suppose you could have still been nuked during the Cold War, quite obviously. But yeah, I suppose the thing with masks in Europe is I think you had all the different European nations making masks both for civil defense and military use. So there was just a lot to flood the surplus market when the Cold War ended. But especially all the Soviet gear, because the Soviets made loads of civil defense equipment, you know, like all that stuff, weirdly, on the poster behind me. PTM1 gas mask, GP4, another version of the PTM1, the PDFs, and the GP5s, you know. There was loads of variants the Soviets made of all civil defense gear, but now we're at the stage, of course, where, you know, all of this stuff suddenly becomes quite desirable. Oh, and thank you, Unknown. He said, I went to the shop using my GP5 and paint a suit. People are asking if they can take photos. My GP5 makes a perfect seal. I will soon use my Airboss. Cool. What model of Airboss have you got? Coming, like an LBM or something? That sounds good regardless, but yeah. As long as it makes a good seal and you've got a filter for it, you know, whatever. But yeah, I've not been out since yesterday, where I just wore a half-face respirator to the pharmacy. But yeah, next time I go like food shopping or whatever, I will definitely wear a full-face gas mask, I think. Just because of all the people not taking us seriously, it becomes a bit of a danger. Swaggerino, if you drop a filter, you can damage it. So whether or not it's a HEPA filter or anything else, dropping a filter could puncture something or rupture something, yeah. Let me look at the chart and it will say, I know sometimes they're a bit slow updating different charts on different sites. UK is at 435 deaths according to Worldometers. 8,264 total cases, 435 deaths. Which particular MSA mask, Commie Hunter? Right, for anybody saying there are lag spikes on the stream, apologies, but nothing I can do about that, because there is nothing other than the streaming service running in the background. And I'm just doing it through YouTube, not even OBS or something. So it's probably just all the internet down my road is in heavy use because everybody's stuck at home. And I'm on the fastest internet package we can actually pay for where I live anyway, so it's probably just shitty British internet. Put the video to 144p so I look like I'm from a PS1 game. That's my only suggestion. Alright, that'll be interesting, Shrimp Zoo. If I'm around when that goes live, I'll watch it, but Adaptus Mechatronicus says, what about Firefighters Panoramic Mask of NATO 40mm RD41/7, aka Stamag 4155? Saw few on German eBay in price range. Right, the only problem with Firefighters masks, if they're ones that take 40mm and work fine, then that's good, and thank you for the donation. The only issue is if you get ones that don't have the valve set up for actual filters, they'll horribly fog up. Because I've got a weird old Sieb Gorman mask that's 40mm, but it doesn't have the valve assembly to be a proper 40mm mask. So what ends up happening is if you put a 40mm filter on it, it steams up horribly because the air doesn't exhale properly. So it depends how the valve setup's done purely on that. If they're not very expensive, I'd risk it and see what they're like. And thank you, Omi, or me. Appreciate that. Thank you very much. I'll be on probably another 15 minutes tonight. I don't want to stay on too long, especially if the internet's lagging out. But like I said, hopefully the internet fixes by itself. But, I think it's just a case of probably lots of people being on down my road. I'm very sorry to hear that. Sorry, Strigian19. That's how your name's pronounced. Anything related to coronavirus or just other stuff? The English Slav said, did you hear about the 21-year-old with no health problems died from COVID-19? Yeah, I've said to a few people about that. But yeah, I mean, that's quite sad, isn't it? But as well, it shows if she really did have no underlying health conditions, just not something not known about, it does show why people should take this seriously, not, Masks and preps is the Yugo M1 filter safe or would it be very good? In terms of is it safe, it's probably not too risky using it. In terms of would it protect you from much, probably not due to the massive age and poor quality construction of the filters. I think they're normally called reactor filters, the ones that have iodine in the filters. Well, that's just to boost the particulate protection, isn't it? In the UK, regarding is the military deployed, they've got the military like building kind of Chinese style kind of big hospital type things, wards. But I don't know if they're using the military to enforce anything in the UK yet. In regards to all the flu symptoms, yes, I still feel very tired in the mornings, and I've got a very swollen gland there in my neck. That's really painful to touch. But other than that, yeah, I'm totally fine now. Ahmed has a picture from the Chernobyl mini-series of the guy spraying down the thing in episode 4. I watched that with my dad the other week, so I can remember it quite well again. Oh, and thank you, me. Oh, I think I just read that, didn't I? I'm going crazy now. But Trouble Man says, I've got mates in the military and they're getting ready to be deployed. They will be helping out the police and protecting areas. I seriously hope they use them to enforce quarantine. I know that sounds like quite a cuck thing to say in some ways, but the amount of people near me that are just violating quarantine orders and, they risk stretching it out and infecting other people. Thank you, Gretchen. Shave so I can wear masks easily, and it's just, cheap to do it at home with just getting some clippers and doing that. That's the only reason I do it, really. There's no, very special reason for it. It's just masks are more comfortable and it's cheap. Joseph said, can you please Google Avon HMK150? You'll love it. Let's have a look. And am I into cuffs? Oh, well, that's the one with like the riot helmet / mask built together, isn't it? It looks kind of like the M50, just with a different filter system, but I guess the visor is designed so it doesn't override the thing. No, I'm not really into handcuffs, especially not into kinky handcuffs, but... Thank you, DJ Top Gear. I just hope anything I say to people is useful. Yeah, that's the problem, Bunker Dad, isn't it? Well, I'm normally quite libertarian at the moment. There's just so many people that are just doing such stupid shit because, it's just a flu. I don't need to take these rules seriously. And what's going to be really annoying is if lots of people go into financial hardship because all this drags on longer than it needs to, as well as more people dying because of people just violating quarantine orders. If everybody did stay home, I think the worst of it would pass a lot quicker. But sadly, at the moment, you've got so many people just saying, oh, these rules shouldn't apply to me. I'm just going to go out. I'll do some exercise outdoors tomorrow and I'll take a mask with me. But I'll probably just go jogging or something down quite a remote area. But I'll probably take my phone with me and then I can film if there's any weird shit going on when I'm down there. Thank you, Altrix. Again, he says, when stuff gets bad, I'm going to start wearing my body armor and ECT. Yeah, one of my mates came over today because I gave him a gas mask and a dosimeter pen. And he said to me, oh, did you know all the crossbows and like machetes are selling out? And I said, yeah, I do. It's a bit of a worrying thing. And I was saying to him as well, like how most riot shields and body armor is sold out on eBay as well. It does make you think, doesn't it, who might be buying this stuff. You hope it's just concerned people who are buying it for their own protection or sporting uses. But, you never know if it's going to be people who want to go raiding who are buying it. And Kyla Kling says, saw a mask on Amazon called the Driskin M350. Perhaps it's a clone of some sort of its panoramic design. I've never heard of it. Thoughts, take care. Thank you very much. Let me have a look, and I'll see if it looks like a clone or if it's just something I don't know about. But I don't recognize the name. Let's have a look. Diskin or Driskin? Oh, I see the one you mean. Yeah, Diskin. Yeah, I don't recognize that at all. It looks pretty unique. It doesn't actually look like it's a... There's one angle where it looks a bit like one of the Zelensky masks I think I'd looked at before. But other than that, no, I don't recognize it. That is interesting. Thank you, Nintendo Boy, again. He said, it's the same here. Everybody's outside despite being told to stay inside. It's mostly old people who think they're special. Old people are like the most at risk, though, aren't they? Which you think I suppose they're going to win a Darwin Award at least. Because the thing that pisses me off with some people is if they're taking a risk and it might hurt themselves, fair enough. It's when they're in the less risky groups and they're going to just impact other people by doing it. That's when it pisses me off more. But yeah, let me have a look. I'm still having a look at this Diskin thing. It's quite interesting. It looks weirdly familiar, but I'm sure I've never seen it under that name. One of the angles of it definitely looks like another mask I've seen before, but I can't think what. That's really weirding me out now. Because I'm sure I've seen that face piece, maybe of different straps, or maybe it's one of those ones where different companies have bought the rights to produce it. But yeah, that's weirding me out now. It looks perfectly suitable, but I have a weird feeling I've seen it before. But I don't know why. I don't recognise the name. That's why it's weirding me out. Seth Taylor said it's going to drag on. Let's hope not. China's second wave coming. Global recession. So many companies will be bankrupt. Swaths of people with damage, and generally a world of in shock. Going to be a difficult 12 months. Yeah, it's not going to be pleasant, is it? But I mean, let's hope it's over as fast as possible. You never know. Thank you very much, Dwarven Miner. He just said keep up the good work. Thank you. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. But yeah, I'll document tomorrow if I'm out and about, if there's lots of people going out and about not doing anything. Oh, also, I will shout this out in the video for the people that didn't miss it. It's in tomorrow's video. A load of people said to me in that video I did the other day, those GOS to NATO adapters, why didn't I just put washers in them? I used some pliers, got the filter out of it, and filters don't even attach to it properly if you put O-rings / washers in them. So, yeah. That particular 40mm GOS to NATO filter is useless. If you don't do a washer, it doesn't make an airtight seal. If you put a washer in it, the screw thread is so small that filters don't screw in properly. So just ignore that particular GOS to NATO thing, unless the person manufacturing it redoes it and it's a lot better. Don't you work in the hardware store though, Peach? They should surely be not essential, but didn't fucking Sports Direct do this fucking thing of going, oh, we're an essential business, when everybody fucking knows they're not. It's cunts like that get everybody else into, issue. Yeah, seeing we're a couple of weeks behind Italy. Spain is getting quite close to Italy now in terms of really horrible daily figures. Hardware stores are essential, yeah, but other than the PPE hardware stores sell, what do they sell that people need on a daily basis that's actually essential? Right edge black star, search either P3, as in P number 3, P100, or combination filters. I'll type them in chat for you and at you so you can see exactly what you need to search, but thank you very much. So you want P3 or P100, depending on the country, what they call them, sometimes called FFP3 or combination. Basically, those are the sort of different keywords that will come under, but those will be the things that give viral bacterial protection. The sabre on the wall there, that is a windlass steelcraft. They're the Indian company that do quite cheap swords, but they're an all right quality. That's a US Army sabre style one, sort of the US Civil War period sort of sabre. Oh yeah, I forgot people were doing home DIY because they're stuck at home. But again, they shouldn't be out and about, should they? Because they've been told, go out if you're either shopping for essential food or you're out for medicine. Buying like new wardrobes isn't probably an essential, is it? But, oh, that's a good thing, IOTA. At least not NHS, sorry. At least Avon make good quality gear, because I'm a bit of an Avon shill, but you know. If Avon are making masks or protective gear, you know it's proper stuff because they're into making CBRN gear. It's not like one of those companies that says, oh, it's a surgical mask, that'll be fine. Around 150, Samuel. That number goes up and down, but at the moment, although I've got a couple of masks on order, I've been giving out masks to family members and friends and things like that, where I've just got spares. I've been saying, look, you need this mask more than me. All it's going to do when I've got it is sit, collecting dust and occasionally maybe turn up in a video again. So a lot of the time I've just been giving it to, like friends and family members, just so if they're going out and shopping or something like that, they've at least got some protective gear. And, I never want anything for them when people do that, because, again, I could probably sell some of my masks for like £50 to £100 each on eBay or more. But it's a dickish thing to do, isn't it? 'Cause you're profiteering. So I'm just like, you need a mask for your family, take it. Because they're not going to do me any good when they're just sitting in a box when I've already got enough masks for myself anyway. Henry says, since the PDF gas mask is a children's mask, do I need a larger size to fit? If you're an adult, you need to get the largest size PDF possible. And even then, it's still going to be a tight fit because, again, they're made for kids. That would be interesting, James. Does it look a bit 28 days later, or does it just look like people wandering about not giving a shit? Thank you, Magnificent Bastard. The thing is, it's not... I don't think that's too unreasonable. You'd hope if you've got friends, they do the same thing to you, or later on they'd say, oh, I've got your back, or something like that. But, it's just, if you've got something, and it's laying about, and it's making you no use, and yeah, you could sell it, but, you could give it to somebody who can't really afford protective equipment, or, can't find anything in stock. I'd rather just give it them, and, then they've got it. Joni says, Swiss SM90 versus Swedish M90, pros, cons. Right, sadly, I don't have a Swiss SM90. I'd love to get one, because it's the mask on the cover of Stalker called the Pripyat, isn't it? But the Swedish M90 is the military version of the Fushida A4, isn't it? I really like the Fushida A4, but because I've not used the Swiss one, I can't really compare it, but both would be excellent quality masks, I imagine, because all the Swiss gear I've ever used is excellent in quality. And Fushidas are excellent masks, or Fushidas, however it's pronounced. So I'd say in any of that stuff, it's good. Singh says, in Hounslow, retailers going in shop like there is no social distancing. Yeah, around me, there's people just totally ignoring it, Oh, it's a nice sunny day. I'm going to go out with my family or friends, to just do whatever. I saw a video of police breaking up people in a park somewhere because they were all just sitting around sunbathing because, oh, it's a nice sunny day. Daniel says, FP211 1P3, would that be suitable? Yes, that'd be very good. FP211s are the GOST old Polish filters, aren't they? But the modernish Polish filters, so they fit both GOST masks and NATO masks. Yes, they're very good. I've got some of those in some of those bags there. I can't remember which ones to get them out and show you, off the top of my head. Oh, sorry. But yeah, where I've got all those French military bags there. Which one's in this one? But yeah, Polish FP211 filters are good because they're the pre-FP5 ones. They're Polish industrial filters. But oh yeah, look, there's one on this one, the MM1. Because yeah, these are actually GOST. So if you see that there, RD40X4, that's the regular GOST thread. Goes into a GOST port, absolutely no issue. And once I can loosen these straps, I can put on an MM1. And then I'll be on a little bit longer and I'll go off the stream. I hope I've not been slurring words too horribly tonight, but because I've got a lot of that Belgian beer, it's very tempting to drink it, and it's quite strong stuff. Tomorrow, because I'm not at the Blue Cross during the day, because they've said obviously don't go in because of all the quarantine measures at the moment, I might stream for Australians again at like midday sort of time. Because Thursdays I normally get at like up at 7 a.m, drive to where the Blue Cross Animal Shelter is, volunteer for the morning, come home, and then like in the afternoon, sort of evening time, and then stream in the evening. But because I'm being told not to do charity volunteering at the moment for safety reasons, I'll probably just be on in the day and be bored and want to do a stream. So there's that. So let me finally loosen this up because, the thing doesn't want to loosen. Come on. No, that will do. I'll tighten it up from here. No, it's still too tight. Bloody thing. Right. Bear with me a moment. I'm just loosening the straps on this and then I'll go back to the chat. Yeah, the problem with these old kind of Soviet strap systems, I can kind of understand why they went to just the straightforward latex hoods, because sometimes, there we go, these get a bit stuck. But yeah, right, so fully loosened head harness. Let's stretch that all the way out. There we go. Put that on. Oh, I just realised. There we go. Just suffocating myself there. As you can see, this GOST filter, it is basically a GOST filter. So yeah, these FP211s are both P3 for whoever it was at asked. Was it Daniel? And they fit GOST masks and NATO masks completely fine. So yeah, there's that. Yeah, but what does that mean to use force? Because we were told the other day they could hand out severe fines, and then it only is £30, so it's not going to deter people. Thank you, Stealth Camp. If you didn't hear Stealth Camp, I'll be on probably midday tomorrow for all the Australian and Asian viewers. Sort of 12 p.m, 1 p.m. GMT sort of time. I've simply contracted people in London, that are going to all the rural places that don't have all the healthcare infrastructure because they're fleeing from the virus, and then they're probably going to fuck up everything in a remote area. No, Peach, chemical masks have potentially 4 hours of use, depending on what you're using them against. Particle filters only stop working when they're so clogged you can't breathe through them. Flare guns. The UK legislation on flare guns is quite weird, if I remember correctly. There's you can own them, but they have to fall under certain categories, so I don't know. I don't have any flare guns. Shrimp Zoo says, in America, you can't wear a gas mask in public. Police or security would have an issue with that. As far as I'm aware, there's no rules in America. Is that more of a state thing? I know there's I'm assuming preppers microfly. I think there's different preppers Facebook groups, but again, you've probably got sensible and stupid people in all those groups. Or the MM1 mode. I like the MM1 because of its forward-facing optics, because you can obviously look through scopes of it. But yeah. Can my glasses go over this? All right. I know they can with the shims. Not really on this one. Jared said, why did you shave your head? Because I can wear masks more comfortably. Look at how flush those straps sit. They don't pull your hair. I certainly don't think this is the end of the world, but it's not going to be very pleasant for a while. This MM1 is size, let's have a look. The only problem with this MM1 is, if you can see, my eyes are a bit too high in it, so I should probably have one size smaller than this one. But let's take this off and have a look. I don't actually know off the top of my head. Right, this particular MM1 is size 1. That will be why. I think that's probably why I was able to get it again recently, because it was a small size nobody wanted. So yeah, I'm size 2 to 3 in most Soviet masks. So where this is an M1, where this is a size 1, that's why it's too small. MM1 in size 1. Well, thank you, Oleg. He says, hey, I have a C3 gas mask, this is a Canadian C3, and the voice diaphragm vibrates, hums when I breathe out at a certain speed. Is this normal, or is there a possible fix? That's pretty normal with a lot of masks that you get a vibrating voice diaphragm. The only thing I can suggest to fix it is a problem I had with my Scott M98. And what that was for some reason, when I pressed the voice diaphragm with my thumb a few times from the inside, the metal bent ever so slightly and then it stopped vibrating. But it vibrates just due to a resonance thing. But yeah, if you try pushing the voice diaphragm with your thumb gently, not very hard because you don't want to damage it, if you push it gently from the inside of your thumb or fingers, it might just be that part of it's buckled over time of being stored. And in that case, it might be a simple fix of just literally pressing something with your thumb, because at least that's what fixed my M98. Because for ages, my Scott M98, I was like, this is an amazing mask, but the vibrating voice diaphragm lets it down. And then all of a sudden, I managed to push it in almost by accident. I was like, oh, hey, it doesn't vibrate anymore. It's got a really clear voice diaphragm. This is amazing. And Linus said, could you please comment on Airbus LBM mask versus Avon FM53 or FM54? Sadly, I don't have any of those masks, and they're very expensive and quite rare masks. He said, very hard to find Airbus LBM and cannot buy it from the US, as it is ITAR, as in international arms, like trafficking thing. Item, thank you. Right, I'm afraid I don't have any of those. But from people I know who have had Avon FM53 masks, they've said they're absolutely excellent, but I've never used them. Apparently Airbus LBMs are very good as well. I don't know how the FM54 off the top of my head differs from the FM53. But again, apologies. Personally, I've never had those and I've never seen them for sale for a decent price. So I've never picked them up to review. But I do know that everybody who's ever had an FM53 I've talked to has absolutely loved it. So there's that. But unless you really need military applications in a mask, they're sort of overkill masks, in my opinion. They're probably very, very good and all that. But again, there's so many masks available to civilians. For most civilians, you're probably just going to want something panoramic or something you can aim with like a regular AR-15 or a rifle scope. Whereas, things like the Avon FM53 is kind of like a special forces, like very kind of, perfectly engineered mask. Right, don't forget to like the stream, everybody, because there's like almost twice as many people watching as likes. I'll be off in about 5 minutes, though. And thank you very much, Edge Blackstar. He says, does P1 filter work? Everything's sold out or long wait times for P3, P100 prices are up. I still got to go to work because I'm mission essential. Meaning I'm FEC as a contractor, but I lock myself in a box. P1 is better than nothing, because at least P1 is massively more filtered than regular air. If you go off the US thing, like P1 is like 95% filtration, whereas P3 is like 99 point something. It might be like 99.7% filtration. So Edge, if you can't get anything better, use P1. You're going to be massively safer using a P1 than nothing. And I do want to make that clear to a lot of people where they're saying, I can't get this, should I just go with nothing? No. If you've got the option between a standard N95 mask or just a P1 filter on a mask and nothing, always wear the mask, because it is going to massively still cut down the risk of inhalation, even if they're nowhere near as good as top tier respiratory equipment. Obviously, aim for a P3 or whatever if you can, but yeah, if you're in a situation where P1 is the only thing you can get, use the P1. Don't ever say, P1 doesn't seem very good, I'll use it over nothing, or not use it. Go with P1. Hopefully that's given you a bit of confidence. Like I said, it's not a perfect world thing, because like I said, personally, before all this happened in the UK, P1, P2 and P3 filters were normally always very similar prices. So my logic was, you might as well buy the most protective filter if you're only paying 50p more for it or something, or £1 more for it. But yeah, now at the moment where everything is just selling out, just get whatever you can, I think, say at that. Because any mask you're wearing is better than no mask. Even a surgical mask I would recommend over nothing, because it's at least protecting some of your face, even if it doesn't offer very good filtration abilities. How would you wash a mask? Disinfectant spray, rubbing alcohol spray, that sort of thing. I've done videos on washing masks in the sink if you buy a second-hand mask and want to wash it that way. I don't know why you want to watch a mask. They're probably pretty boring. They just sit there and do nothing. Do you mean stretch or strength, Marco? In terms of stretch, the only thing I would suggest is when you don't have the mask on, stuff a load of paper in it, put them on the loosest setting or something, and then clip them so the straps are stretching a bit while you've not got the mask on. But unfortunately, they're kind of brittle masks in some regards. Well, when I bought it ages ago, Henry, it was probably like £10, £15. Let me look at that particular one, Mo, because I know some of the ones are a bit shit. So let me do an eBay item number search. I think that's a different one. That is a different one than the one I bought. I've not used that one, but it might be all right. It comes with a washer at least. I don't know how big the intake thread is. That's the only thing. The intake does look quite small. So it could be you can't screw the filter in very well just due to the small intake, but I've not used that one, so. Reliable. Well, problem is the Alvo. I'll go over this again quickly before I finish, right? Surgical masks. They're designed to protect other people from you, not you from them. So the point of a surgical mask normally, you have a surgical mask on wrapped around your ears, and it sits loosely over the nose and mouth. The point of a surgical mask is if you sneeze or cough, your spittle doesn't fly out and hit other people. It's basically just like having a bit of cloth in front of your nose or your mouth just to catch, germs coming out of you. If everybody wore a surgical mask, it would massively cut down the risk of infection. Sadly, not everybody does. That's just the world we live in. Problem is, they're not designed to work the other way. Even if you turn them inside out, they're not designed to work like that. Masks like N95 masks or better, the reason they work is because they make a very good face seal to your face like that, or, full face, and they have a filter material in the mask. So stuff incoming gets filtered, incoming air gets filtered. So in terms of would a surgical mask protect you, they're better than nothing because they cut down the rate of infection from both people sneezing and coughing on other people. That's the main use of them. And they are better than nothing. Pretty much anything is better than nothing. Even if you wore like a motorcycle helmet around, that would probably cut down your infection risk because there's more of a barrier between you and the outside world of germs. But surgical masks don't filter incoming air. So if people are coughing and sneezing like in a train carriage or on a bus and you're sitting near them, the surgical mask doesn't do anything because all of those microbes, whatever you want to call it, flying in the air are just going to be inhaled when you breathe through because surgical masks don't filter the air. Does that make sense? It's one of those things that in theory is quite simple, but the problem is because the media just refers to all masks as just masks, they don't distinguish between surgical masks, N95 masks, half-face respirators, full-face respirators, any of that sort of stuff. They just say masks don't work or a stupid statement like that when they're only referring to surgical masks. Ron says, time to cook, Mr. White. Yeah, I'd say it's time to cook. I've not got my yellow suit in here. I've only got the orange one. Right, good luck with that nomenclature. Going to Costco in your M40. I wonder if people will react strangely, but good luck. Right, thank you everybody that donated again tonight. I'm going off now. I've been on about an hour. So for the people who didn't hear it, I might be on tomorrow around 12 or 1 p.m. GMT UK time. I might stream in the evening again. Oh, and thank you very much, LMD. I'll read your thing in a second. But because I can't do the charity volunteering I normally do on a Thursday at the moment, because the Blue Cross have said to me, don't come in because, for everybody's safety, they're cutting down on the amount of people that are in and about everywhere. I'll be sat at home doing nothing for a bit of the day. So I'll probably be online. So, yeah, if I'm there out and about, not out and about, if I'm online, 12 to 1 p.m. or, 12 or 1 p.m. GMT sort of time UK. For the Aussie viewers, people in Hong Kong and stuff like that, I'll be on at that time. If not, I'll be on in the evening. Right, let me read your thing. LMD, he said, Scott ProMask FM3 arrived today with the ABEC P3 Pro 2000 filter. Should I also pick up the slimmer P3 only filter, or is this one filter enough? That'll be enough. Spare filters is never a bad thing. But did you get the one that's both P3 and it's got the like A2 bit to it or whatever? Oh, sorry, you said ABEC, didn't you? I completely missed that for some reason. That is actually better than just a P3 filter if you only had one filter on mask. You might as well pick up 1 or 2 P3 filters as spares, but that will definitely be enough in terms of protection when you've got that filter on the mask. It's just if it gets damaged or, you know, clogged somehow, you might want a spare filter, but that will certainly be enough to protect you. Right, thank you very much, everybody. I'll be on tomorrow, maybe 2 streams potentially tomorrow. But I'm glad everybody's enjoyed it that's been on. Stay safe, everybody. You know, keep watching the news. Take all the precautions you can and all that sort of stuff. I like FP5 filters personally, Elijah. Yeah, don't forget to like the stream on your way out. So yeah, see you tomorrow. And yeah, stay safe. That's the main thing. Stay safe. Keep you and your family safe. But yeah, see you all tomorrow for another day of lockdown streaming. See you then.